Yeah, we're now joined by sculptor Zach McLaughlin. First time on the show, Zach, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, hi. I'm a nature-inspired paper sculptor. Mixed media as well, just kind of love nature, so I want to try and do it justice in my paper artist way.
How did you start doing it?
So I did illustration to start with, children's books. Yep, this one here. I did it at university, actually, in my third year. And then within the story, a little boy fashions his own escape by creating, initially it was a plane. I went back and made it a bird because he was inspired by Little Robin. And this paper bird lantern is the first one I made as a prop, so I could actually draw from it, so it looked real. Nothing I drew looked right without something to draw from, and I always worked from reference, so it worked well for that. And if you look through it, you can kind of see how my sort of techniques for feather cutting changed throughout, from the tail to the head. And it sparked something. I loved the fact I had something 3D in my hands. It wasn't 2D, you could see every angle of it, you could really get to grips with it. And it sparked something in my head, and I just had to play more with that. And my obsession with detail and the love of nature and wanting to recreate that and pay homage to it in a way just led to kind of more and more detailed sculptures, kind of down a taxidermy route, I guess. And that's where I'm at now. Kind of this role is alive.
So it's all birds you do?
Mainly, I do other animals as well, but because it's like the first one I did was a bird,
Right.
and the feathers kind of lent itself well to using paper, that's the kind of path it's taken. And there's something beautiful about birds, isn't there?
And how long would it take? I mean, we've got a good few examples of your work. So, on average, some of the smaller pieces here.
Yeah, so like little hummingbirds, probably 50 to 60 hours, something like that.
Yeah.
And then, say, the big one like the peregrine here would take about 170 hours. So
And how long did it take you before that? I mean, it's a great first effort, but these are absolutely off the scale. How long did it take before you got to this sort of level?
It took about 2 years, but there's 6 years between probably where I'm at now. I'm always learning and progressing, I guess. And I always learn new techniques, teach myself things, having a good play with materials, really. And kind of, I love that playing aspect.
So who are your customers?
I get all sorts of bird lovers, art collectors. I do installations in shops and things like that as well. But to be honest, I really like the bird lovers because they come with a specific bird, one I've never heard of sometimes as well. And I get to research that bird and really look at it and draw it out and then, really study it and make it, which is really fascinating.
We've got an example here. This is one which is, if we look at this, we've got that bit which is you've just started, and we've got the other bit.
The painted
Beautiful.
side there, the
the
iridescence
hummingbird.
and stuff.
Yeah.
I love that bit of adding the colour. It brings life to it because it's quite muted with just the paper, but that life and colour which nature has.
So your starting point is what then? If we commissioned you to do that, how would you start?
So I straight away start researching that bird, collating as many photos as I can get hold of every angle, so that I can actually, I've got a book down here I create blueprints and drawings. I don't know if you're inside here. So I will draw out all of the feathers, the body shape, and kind of really research everything. So I know I've got it right because I love nature and I want to do as much as I can to represent that. I don't want to get anything wrong either, especially if bird lovers are really into commissioning me.
So that's stage one.
Yeah.
And then what's stage two?
Stage two is creating the framework and the body that everything's going to sit on top of. So that could be either wood, so I carve wooden bodies and pieces like this.
Great.
So like an owl, or there's a western sandpiper.
Did you always know how to do that? Have you taught yourself how to do this?
Taught myself everything, yeah. So kind of from that, it's the first thing I ever made, and then just I wanted to make things solid because paper's quite fragile. You think of it as having a good solid underbelly, like with a wire as well. So I do wire framework as well, which is quicker than carving wood. And the peregrine actually is an example of wire. So a wire skeleton sits underneath all that paper feathering, and it's quicker to create and lightweight as well, which is good. Once the body's made, the framework's there, it's pretty much cutting hundreds or 1,000 feathers or so, repetitive action, layering them up.
We've got a picture of you making the stages of you making a puffin here. So.
Yeah, the puffin, so you can see the wire work and actually the drawing as well, stuffed with tissue paper to fill it out, and then clay for the eyes and the beak and things like that, and the legs as well. And then it's just feathering, so the wings and the tail are added first, and then everything's layered up, so you're always hiding the unfinished bit, if you like. You only ever see the nice fringy bits, so it's like an illusion. You don't know where it's been started and where it finishes. And you can kind of see the textures that build up on this guy. You can't really tell where it was started.
Yeah, well, I suppose this could be made out of plastic or it could be made out of porcelain and painted or something, but it's actually you get a sort of 3D bit to it, don't you? It's more tactile.
Much more tactile.
Yeah.
And actually, it does a lot of the work for you. I don't really have to paint much because there's all the
I don't know, I
texture
think you're
there.
putting yourself down there. There's a tremendous level of skill in that painting.
Thanks. But yeah, I love adding all the details. I think that's kind of what makes nature, isn't it? You get obsessed with looking closer and closer at things.
Right, you're going to show us how to make a feather now, aren't you?
I am.
So,
Yeah. You're going to choose your weapon, your pair of scissors. Yeah, they look good. Okay. What colour feathers would you like to cut?
Blue.
Blue.
I'll have red then.
Yeah. Blue and red. Okay. I'll give
It's
you
so cliche.
a sheet each. There you go. Cool. So I'm going to go for a nice pink here. And what we're going to do, we're going to cut a strip first. So however long you want your feather to be, we'll cut a strip out that length. So you
Look how
know.
long the feathers are on live birds.
Actually, we should get some photos to reference first, shouldn't we?
Yeah.
Photos up.
Yes.
So, got your length. What we're going to do, we're going to cut simple leaf shapes out first, along this length. So something nice and simple, like so. That's good. They're sharp enough, yeah.
So this is one feather.
Yes.
The peregrine falcon there. How many feathers are on that?
He's probably about 1,000, yeah. 1,000 feathers.
Oh, wow.
Starting from bigger than that, obviously, but then the head ones towards the beak, the finishing ones are tiny.
And the smaller they are, obviously, the more fiddly they are to do.
And I haven't got a little hand, so it's kind of hard. I don't use tweezers or magnifying glass. It's just
Yeah.
myself. So yeah, gets fiddly. but
So
that's
what
fine.
next?
So we're going to hold the feather shape, rounded edge towards you, between finger and thumb. I never use this finger. I don't know why. It just sits there doing nothing. And this finger is the next most important, which you rest your scissors on. You don't want your scissors moving around because you accidentally cut through different angles. You want all the cuts to be at the same angle towards you. Okay, so you're going to hold the scissors like this.
I can't do that. My
Your finger's gone?
Yeah, my tendon was snapped on that one.
okay.
So I'm gonna change the technique.
Okay, good. You'll be better then.
You know what? that's it.
Maverick
Yeah,
to
yeah.
Liverpool. Maverick.
Look and learn, Zach.
You take over. Okay. So we're going to create a little action like this. So you're creating like a little motor of a machine that the paper's going to pass through as you go. And you're only ever using the back of the scissors here.
Oh.
Okay. And we're going to go through, and the faster the action, obviously, the more cuts you're going to get in. But if you're starting, you don't have to worry too much about the speed. But you kind of work your way around the whole feather, shifting your fingers as you go.
Oh my goodness.
Hey, good. You got some really nice curls in those. They're perfect.
Yeah. Hey.
Hey, you're hired.
1,000 though.
Yes, 1,000. It's a kind of a meditative state you get into, though. It's a nice bit of art therapy. You sit there, just get in the zone.
Look at
That's
that.
good, look at that. Imagine that layered on top of this guy, can't you? Sitting on the back of there. So once you put it in there,
Yeah.
you see how those feathering bits, you only ever see the front bit like that.
You've got to be a patient man to do that.
And you teach workshops?
I do, yeah. So I do workshops making the hummingbirds and barn owls like this little one here, but also the wire framework as well. I do workshops in those. It's kind of nice, quick, about 2-hour lesson. It's really fun doing it in a pub, have a pint while you're doing it. It's always good.
That's great. Perfect.
Yeah, and it's always really fun.
Thanks for coming on, Zach.
Thank you, Zach.
Mate, thanks.
After the break, we're in the kitchen with Steve. See you soon.